Mm-hmm. 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 Come on. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is PZ Music.
Welcome to Backdoor Bills Talk on Mafia Sports Report Network. I am filling in for Jason, so I am your host tonight. And joining me is a special guest. That is Jarek from Jance Sports, who's a little bit under the weather, but he still came on tonight to help me out. I appreciate it. Jarek, how you doing, brother, beside you being sick?
Yeah, I'm doing all right, man. Like I said, I'm sorry for not showing my beautiful face, man. But like I said, I'm glad to talk some Bills and how the Chiefs were able to get that #1 seed today.
Yeah, which we all knew was going to happen, right?
Yep.
We figured that was going to happen. By the way, I do like your profile picture there of number 3, Mr. DeMar Hamlin. So speaking of that, let's get to the DeMar stuff, DeMar Hamlin incident, because I didn't get to talk to you really much about it. Monday night, obviously, everything was a little bit crazy. I don't know if you came into the podcast. I did a podcast right after the game was called, and it was crazy. Jarek, we had like no joke, I had about close to 12,000 people in my chat. Like, it was the most epic like live stream I've ever had. And I got to say, the support of the other fan bases was unbelievable. I actually shared some screenshots of just a few comments that were left of different teams, different team fan bases just reaching out, saying that they're praying for DeMar, and it was awesome to see. And I was debating on even doing a podcast that night, but I thought it was the right thing to do, to talk about it. But what was your feeling in that game when that happened?
I don't know. Okay, so I don't know if anybody watches soccer, but this reminded me literally so much of the Christian Eriksen event during the Euros of 2021. I mean, this was literally identical, and the exact same reaction I had to that, as far as me just sitting in my chair just watching the game, seeing somebody go down. I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, he might have fainted or something else might have happened, or maybe he's just you just never know. But you never think of death, right? You never think of any of those situations happening. I remember Christian Eriksen falling down to the ground, and all of a sudden the player's asking for help. And then all of a sudden, like literally 2 minutes later, they're performing CPR at him live, right? And this might be actually, the Christian Eriksen one might be a little bit worse because you can actually see his face. You can actually see his bot, like he was done. And
right.
Right. So I mean, in a way, kind of thank God we didn't, as fans, because a lot of people didn't watch that soccer event during the Euros back in 2021. Thank God we didn't have to see that again, right? Thank God, in a way, the teammates were able to kind of surround him.
Yep.
Thank God, because that would have been a gruesome sight, and I know that would have traumatized a lot of people for actually seeing death in a way, because he was dead for a second. And
yeah,
thankfully, like I said, man, we have a hell of a training staff, hell of a medical team.
Mm-hmm.
And we were able to kind of resuscitate him not once but twice. And
yep.
thankfully he's here, and he's communicating with the teams on, again, they just released a photo of him all smiles and joy. And I mean very similar to Christian Eriksen, man. Christian Eriksen, literally, despite dying on the field for about a second, I mean, all of a sudden, the good thing is about Christian Eriksen, man, he's now playing again. He's playing football for the highest level. He played at Brentford, and now he's at Manchester United, and he's now, in a way, after death, he's literally one of the best players on the planet right now. He's playing the best of his career. So hopefully, Damar Hamlin, not just he can, be okay, but hopefully one day he can pursue his dreams, and he can, go back to doing what he does best.
Yeah, man, no doubt about it. Obviously, there's a lot of people that pretty much saved Damar's life on the field that day. Denny Kellington is one name that was brought up multiple times. He's the one that did CPR initially on Damar Hamlin. And he deserves all the credit in the world. He deserves everything he's going to, get coming his way as far as awards or just, the NFL. I'm sure they're going to honor him. I'm sure Damar Hamlin's going to give him the hugest hug in the world when he sees him again. But this when that happened, I don't know how long you've been watching the Buffalo Bills play, Jarek, but that took me back to 2007. Kevin Everett.
Yep.
And going down on a special teams play. And I recall, I watched that live, and you saw, I knew something was wrong especially when they showed the replay. It was bad. And I just remember the stadium being so quiet, they knew something was bad happening. And it took a while, obviously, to get him off the field, the ambulance, all that. But the game resumed because nobody knew that he was paralyzed at that moment. They knew it was bad, but this was a totally different situation. That I don't think any player, at least there, have witnessed, CPR being taking place. And if you haven't seen CPR in person, somebody going through it, it's just traumatic, and I'm sure, who knows what was going on in their mind, but I'm glad that they blocked, people from seeing what was going on out of respect from him. And just like I said, I want to say shout out once again to Cincinnati, their fans. I thought they were stand up, very classy. Their coaching staff, their medical team, Cincinnati Hospital, everybody. There was a lot of people that took part in saving Damar Hamlin's life, and they all need to be recognized. And I hope they do that at some point during the season or in the off season, that these people somehow get some acknowledgement. Other like I said, I know that Denny is right now, but I think everybody else involved also needs to get a little bit of acknowledgement as well. But yeah, that was crazy, Jarek. I've never seen anything like it. Like I said, the craziest thing was the Everett. As far as football goes, the game didn't obviously continue, which was the right thing. What do you feel about how the NFL handled that, by the way, the playoff scenario?
Honestly, I don't think there was a perfect solution. I know, like I said, I know a lot of fans are upset, about the fact that we didn't get the number one seed. Number one seed today, and we didn't lose it. And I think that's what's going to kind of kill it with this playoff scenario, is the fact that we didn't lose it, and yet Kansas City is now sitting on top, and now we got to play an extra game while they get the bye week.
Yeah,
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like for the most part, that's the best possible thing I think they could have done. I know a lot of people saying that, well, maybe we could have, they could have moved the league schedule back, and we could have used the Pro Bowl, essentially, again, no one, let's be honest here, no one really cares about the Pro Bowl. We could just move the Pro Bowl back, and we can play it there. But, then again, it's like, what about the other teams? Again, you got the Bills and the Bengals that are the bystanders, but you got everyone else. Like, what's going to happen with them? I think it's just going to be a little bit too much for that. So, again, I'm not in love with this, but I feel like I honestly can't come up with a better solution. I've been trying to wrap up what we can do. I feel like the NFL is kind of tied at this point. I mean, the fact that we might actually, we might come down to a coin flip as far as potentially getting home field advantage if, depending on what happens is that's just the way it is, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
no, like I said, I feel it. I mean, like I'm reading the comments right here. I get it. I completely get it, man. As far as why Bills fans are upset about not getting that number 1 seed, but I honestly I feel like the NFL, I think their hands are just tied at the moment, and I feel like this is just the best that they honestly can do. I mean, I can't blame Kansas City. I mean, Kansas City did their job. They won their games. I mean, Tommy, the only thing I guess I can say is we should have never lost 3 games. We should have lost at least maybe a couple games. We had games that we should have won that we let go of. So I feel like, so for the most part, I feel like we kind of put ourselves in that position to still be the number 2 seed, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Day trading riches. I can't answer that question for you. I'm sure the chat will, though. I'm sure somebody in the chat will let you know how to watch it online, but it's there. Trust me. It's not difficult. I promise you. But somebody in the chat might help you with that. But yeah, so listen, there was no easy solution here. It's week 17, all right, going on week 18. You cannot push the Super Bowl back. You cannot replay that game. There's just not enough time. And what I initially thought was I was saying just call it not a tie. I was just saying just cancel the game. Just wipe it out like it never happened. I know it sucks. A no contest, right? Just nothing. It sucks for Buffalo. I get it. But I think they did it as fair as they can do as far as neutral site. If the Buffalo Bills play the Kansas City Chiefs in the championship game, I think that's about as fair as you can get for now. I think in the offseason, they will figure something out that's in the rule book or whatever if this happens again, God forbid, where it'll be set in stone. You know what I mean? Where it's not like, hey, we need to have a meeting for this. And like, it'll just be what it is. You know what I mean? But right now, I think it was one of those freak things and they had to make a decision quick, right? So I think honestly, it worked out for I think it was as fair as you can get. And to your point, yeah, I agree with you. We shouldn't even have 3 losses, 1 at the most. I mean, honestly, guys, like we gave up the Minnesota game is ridiculous. We all know that. And I'm not going to keep going back in circles, but that was ridiculous. And the Dolphins game, bad clock management, just kicking ourselves in the, shooting ourselves in the foot every time. And it cost us games. And even the Jets game was a sloppy game we should have won. So either way, though, we only have 3 losses. We won the AFC East. We handled our business. And like I said, who knows what happens if we wind up playing, if it didn't, what didn't happen, DeMar. Who knows what happens in that game if DeMar doesn't go down. Maybe we win and we went out, and we win. But either way, we're going to the playoffs, and I'm cool with it. And I think I think our team's getting healthy, Jarek, now finally. And it's getting healthy at a perfect time. And the fact that we didn't play Monday really much, we kind of also got a little break in a way. I know not mentally, but physically. Players like Jordan Phillips, that are playing with nagging injuries now had a little bit more time to, maybe heal up, right? Jordan Poyer, Josh Allen, right? Not a lot of strain on his elbow because he didn't get to play really in that game. So in a way, maybe a little bit of help physically. But yeah, if that's the only, I guess going in the playoffs, that's the good thing. It sucks. We're going to have to play a bye. We're not getting the bye. We're going to have to play a wild card game. That kind of sucks. It's one more added game, but we've been down this road before, right, Jarek? This is nothing new.
Yeah.
We played the wild card, 3 seasons in a row now, right? So, nothing new. And we can handle our business on the road. We can handle, obviously, we can handle our business at home. So I'm not nervous about a playoff run, as of now with the extra game. Thomas coming in. Would love to see Chargers play Bengals first round. That'd be an interesting interesting battle right there because the Chargers have some weapons. They just don't put it together. And that's the story of the Chargers every season. But yeah, so yeah, back to DeMar. So DeMar, man, I gotta say, very surprised, Jarek, how fast he recovered in a way. Like, I mean, he's not out of the woods yet, but I mean, this happened Monday and Tuesday, he was already showing good signs. Wednesday, he's, you know, he was awake and responding, right? And then Thursday, they take the breathing tube out. So, man, like, talk about the power of prayer or just the fight in this kid. It's wild, man, because there was a lot of speculation that, from the time that he was, the amount of time they were doing CPR and all that, there was no oxygen getting to the brain, all that. Like, there's a lot of worry there. And it seems right now, Jarek, that he's doing pretty damn good. I think he's surprised even doctors. What do you feel about that? His recovery, so like that he's recovering so kind of quickly.
Yeah, it's insane, man. I'll go back to the Christian Eriksen thing again. I mean, just like that, how you kind of see a player die on the pitch, and the fact that he was trying to be resuscitated, and just like him. I think Christian Eriksen was a little bit more freakier because he had a breathing tube, and then literally in 5 hours he was good. And
that's wild.
Then they're checking up on him, and they're trying to see what he is. And doctors, they came and explain it. They don't know what the hell's going on now. They can't explain what the hell's going on, and then 5 months later, he's back playing again. So with Damar Hamlin, I think this is another case where not only is he getting healthier by the minute, and actually, didn't they move him out of ICU and now he's just back in there? He's back.
I didn't read today on the latest update. I know that he tweeted out today. He tweeted,
yeah,
which is pretty cool, right? I know he Zoomed, called the teammates with McDermott and the rest of the team on Friday. So yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if that's the case. Real quick though, just got to ask you. So who replaces Hamlin now? Do you think it's going to be Cam Lewis? And why haven't the Bills given Marlowe an opportunity? Why would they? I'm kind of baffled there on the trade, bringing Marlowe back, who played well in Buffalo when he was here. I don't understand why they haven't given him an opportunity to play. Like, what are you seeing that the Bills do here?
I feel like it's going to be Cam Lewis. I'm not too sure why Marlowe hasn't gotten that many opportunities. Again, maybe they just feel comfortable with Cam Lewis. Maybe they just like him. Maybe they just like him a little bit more as far as what he offers. I mean, like I said, Cam Lewis is a player that can play multiple positions. Of course, probably in practice, maybe Cam Lewis is out playing Dean Marlowe. Just showing a lot more at that, at that particular position.
Right.
But Marlowe's he's capable. I mean, he's a guy that's got experience as far as filling in for safeties. Now, we did bring him back for the most part, and again, who knows? Maybe the playbook has advanced, and maybe he's got to still try to figure out the playbook a little bit more often. But yeah, I mean, Cam Lewis is gonna have. I mean, based off what we saw, especially in that Vikings game, it looks like Cam Lewis is going to be that player that's going to replace DeMar Hamlin. And I think for the most part, again, he had his struggles. We've seen him have his struggles in that Vikings game.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens. Obviously, Micah Hyde's going to be working with him. Poyer's going to do the best he can to try to work with him and try to get him on the right page. But I think again that is a little bit of a worry where in the play because not a lot of people were really picking on DeMar Hamlin. I don't think a lot of people give Hamlin a lot of credit for just how good of a job he was able to fill in literally right from the get-go as soon as Micah Hyde went down.
I'm glad you said that, by the way, because I'm on board with you on that. And I was listen. I was like, there was some Bills Mafia a little bit tough on DeMar. And I was saying, listen, this kid is a second-year player. He barely played last season, right? And he got thrown in the starting job because, because Micah Hyde went down, and you're replacing a Pro Bowler, Micah Hyde, one of the better safeties in the league. He's not going to be Micah Hyde right away. He's going to go through some learning curves. But overall, I felt like he did very well. I thought his tackling was, for the most part, really good. I thought his run defense was good when he came up to the block there. I thought he covered well. I thought he played physical. Like, there was a lot of good. Sure, he made some mistakes, but I mean, guys, once again, it's a guy that hasn't really had a lot of playing time.
I felt more
Yeah.
honestly felt like in the run, I felt more comfortable having DeMar than Hyde, because Hyde is more of a ball hawk, but Hamlin just brought a sort of just an extra sort of physicality to the Bills that we honestly just really haven't seen.
Yeah,
he was a hitter.
Yeah, he was not afraid to lay that hit down, man. 100%. Like I said, I like, and he was learning. I put a video out like, I don't know, more. I think I would say 2 months ago or something, about the possibility, very slim possibility, of Micah Hyde returning for the playoffs. What do you think? What do you think the chances are, Jarek? I mean, do you think there's a slim chance that we could possibly see Micah Hyde return somewhere in the playoffs, or you think that's it for the season for him? Because it hasn't been ruled out officially. He kind of left the door open, and so did Brandon Bean.
Oh, I think it's slim. I think I'll probably give him maybe a 5% chance. I think if he does make a return, it's probably going to be the Super. Honestly, I think it's February. I think the Super Bowl is the best case. I think that is the best case scenario in order for him to return back. It also just depends on really just how severe that neck injury really was. I think the fact that we're really having this conversation is telling us that he definitely should return next year, which is definitely a good thing. But I just feel like February is. I mean, that neck injury. It's not the first time he suffered. That sort of
second. Right, it's the second one that he's had, second surgery or whatever. But
yeah,
I tell you what's promising. And the reason why I did the video is usually when a player like that is out. I mean, let's talk it like Aaron Williams, for instance. Aaron Williams had his neck injury. That was a wrap, right? Like, he was not in a facility. You know what I mean? He was home. He was getting rehab. He was not, training with other players who are trying to get back on the field, like Christian Benford and all the other players. Micah Hyde's kind of been working with trainers, with his teammates, which is, I don't know. I kind of felt like it's a little promising to see that, nothing crazy, but it seems like he's doing a little bit more each week, at practices. And that's why I kind of like, and the fact that they didn't rule him out officially is head scratching, because that means there's a possibility. You know what I mean? So, like I said, once again, I want to give your hopes up, but I also wouldn't totally say it's impossible that he could return for the AFC Championship game or Super Bowl. But moving forward, we got a game this weekend. Bills and Patriots. How do you see this game going, Jarek?
I got the Bills winning this game. I feel like for the most part, I think that we got a lot to play for. We got to try to see if we could retain the number 2 seed. I don't want to play against. I do not want to play against the Chargers. In the first round again. That's a team that has all the pieces together. I mean, they're incredibly inconsistent. You don't know what you're going to get out of them, but in the playoffs, I mean, you just never know. I mean, all you need is just the game to move on. And the Chargers got they got Justin Herbert. They got a quarterback just like Josh Allen, that can absolutely make ridiculous throws. Extremely talented. Receiving core is starting to get healthier. That is just that's the wrong time to play them right now. So getting that number 2 seed and possibly playing the Dolphins again or whoever we're going to be playing that 7th seed, I think that is what matters the most. I think that's going to give us a much easier matchup since we again, if we play the Dolphins again, we've played them twice, and that's going to give us an advantage, especially defensively. Now that we kind of we've seen all we needed to see with Tua. If it's Skylar Thompson or Teddy Bridgewater, I think maybe that could present us a sort of challenge. But all three quarterbacks have limitations to their game that I feel like for the most part it should be a little bit easier for us to, especially with the time and preparation we've had with Miami. That should give us a much easier time with compared to scheduling against possibly let's say the Chargers if we place that 3rd seed. So we got to go ahead and get this win. The Patriots are a dangerous football team. We all know it. Bill Belichick. We all know how that defense is. I have no idea who any of these players on the defensive side is. Again, Bill Belichick. We all know how he works. He gets players from Walmart, fits into the system, and then all of a sudden they just plug in and they just become superstars. But we all know how that defense works, man. So. We can't play around with them. Again, Mac Jones has not been the best quarterback, but Damian Harris, he's healthier now. So now it's that you got that 1-2 punch combo with him or Ramondre Stevenson. They have one of the best run blocking offensive lines in the league. It's not hard to figure out what they're going to do, right? They're going to run the football a lot. They're going to run a lot of play action. It's right. They're going to hit a lot of those 10, 15 yard, short, those intermediate throws. It's not hard to figure out what they're going to do. So we got to go in here. We got to treat this like a playoff game. We got to go in here and win this game. And if we can win the game, we secure the number 2 seed, and we have a much more favorable matchup in the playoffs in the wild card. But we mess around. We let New England, a much more motivated New England team that's fighting for a playoff spot. If we let them come in our house and beat us, then that could be problematic as far as our matchup goes, because even though Cincinnati's playing against Baltimore, that is a much again it's a great chance that they can win that game. So we cannot go around here and mess up. We gotta go ahead and there take care of our business and wrap up the number 2 seed.
Yeah, I totally agree with you 100% on that. I will say this, the fact that after everything that happened on Monday, the fact that Damar Hamlin, his recovery has been unbelievable, I think has changed a lot going into the, how the team, is mentally ready for this game. Because if this doesn't happen, if Damar Hamlin is, his recovery is not gone good, or it's just, it's just whatever, right? It's no good news, no bad news. Even if that was the case, I think it would be tough for the Bills to be ready for this game, though they would still have to play it. I get that, but I don't know where their heads would be at, right? Like on the field, right? Because they're still thinking about their brother, their teammate. But I think the fact that everything's gone so unbelievably good, really, for Damar, and the fact that he talked with them through Zoom call, I think, man, totally lifted his team up, and they will be ready, Jarek. Sunday, they will be fired up. I think Bills Mafia will be fired up. I think there's going to be a lot of emotion. And I think the Bills are going to come out and play with with a lot of energy and fire. Everything that's happened to this team, to the city of Buffalo, it's been wild, Jarek. It really has been. And I did a video and I totally forgot one thing, and somebody mentioned it. I think it was Mikey. I totally forgot about Kim Bagula. That early on that she went to the hospital and it wasn't good news, right?
Yeah,
And
it's been a crazy year, man.
It's been wild, right? It's been wild. It's like one thing after another, and yet this team, this city, continues to fight and continues to move on. And the fact that we only have 3 losses considering everything that's happened, is remarkable, right? Because I'm not talking. We're with all the injuries, we're not even Von Millers and all the other small injuries that lingered on Jordan Poyer and Micah Hyde going on. Dane Jackson, I mean, the list goes on and on. Josh Allen's elbow, and we're still at where we're at right now. Is honestly, it's remarkable. But I just think, man, with this news coming out that that DeMar's turned around, everything's going good. I think it's just more fuel to the fire for this team, man. I think it's going to be a special run, in my opinion, to the Super Bowl. But yeah, this weekend, man, I think we're going to be playing for DeMar. And we're going to play for 3, and that's what it's going to be. I think that's what it's going to be for the rest of the playoffs. I think it's going to be win for 3, right? And this team's not going to want to let him down. They're not going to want the city. They're not going to want to let the city of Buffalo down. They had a goal in mind to start the season, and they're going to continue with that goal. And that goal is a Super Bowl. And I think Sunday you're going to see a fired up team. Like I said, you're going to see a fired up crowd. Damar Hamlin's going to being honored all throughout every single football stadium this weekend with the number 3 on the field. The number 3 patch is going to be also on the Buffalo Bills jerseys. So yeah, man, I just really think that for as good as the Patriots defense is, I think their offense is a hot mess. And I think the Buffalo Bills defense is going to get after him. I think there's going to be some turnovers in this game. And I think the Bills do wind up beating the brakes off the Patriots, in my opinion. And it's sending the Patriots home packing unless they get some good news their way. But I think the Bills win this game probably like 34-20, something like that. But yeah, I mean, where do you see score prediction?
I'm gonna say 27. I'm gonna say 27-13.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I can see that too. I definitely can see that. It's I think it's gonna be now. You're in Buffalo, correct?
Yep.
Okay, so I heard. Now I'm in Michigan, so I'm not that far. I always base my weather off your guys' weather because we're kind of close. We're in the 30s here right now. It's like 35. I heard there's not going to be any snow tomorrow. So what's the What's the weather like tomorrow? Do they have a forecast already for the game?
So let's see, because Orchard Park is, sometimes they get different weather from compared to the city. But no, I mean, for the most part, I mean, like very similar to what you just said with your weather. I mean, yeah, we're extremely similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're it's like 38.
So it's just
40
going to be
degrees.
a cold day, but no snow, no rain, no nothing.
Yeah,
like that.
I think the city's actually a little bit warmer than you guys. So I think we're a little bit warmer.
Okay.
But no, literally all week we've been dangling on 38, 40 degrees, and a little bit of rain here and there. But no, for the most part, no snow or nothing.
That's good. So that's a beautiful day in Buffalo. You guys remember when we played the Patriots last year in Buffalo in January? What happened there? It was a beautiful night, cold, but beautiful weather for the most part, and we beat the brakes off the Patriots. And that would be so perfect, Jarek, if the weather's just right. You know what I mean? Like no crazy winds or snow, like just it would just cold, and let's go handle our business. AWOL, hope the Bills end up playing the Bengals again. Been waiting to see it since last season. Should be a classic. So he's a Bengals fan. Hey, listen, by the way, credit, you guys are a class act. I know you're a Bengals fan. Class act. Your fan base, class act, your coach, your medical staff, your players, and anyone dogging T. Higgins is doesn't know football. That was about as routine as a play you're going to see in the NFL. See that hit a million times, that tackle. He did nothing wrong, in my opinion, there. So anyone dogging T. Higgins or talking trash is an idiot. They do not know football then. We do that all the time. Players drop their shoulder all the time. So I don't want to hear that mess. And if
Yeah.
you bring it to me, I'm just going to cut you off because you don't know football.
Yeah,
But yeah,
free accidents happen. Like,
yeah, all the
every
time.
sport has a free act. You know, like we just talked about the Christian Eriksen incident. No one would ever thought that a player was going to collapse on the pitch and die right there
Yeah,
for just a split
exactly.
second. No one thought it. So
Right. And by the way, that was what happened to DeMar, and they haven't officially said it, but most people, I forget the term, but it's basically something where your heart has a rhythm, and in part of that rhythm, there's a 2 millisecond time lapse where if you get hit in the right part of your chest with enough force, it can knock the rhythm into like knock your heart
it's
rate into like a
it
shock
is
wave kind of deal.
super rare.
Yeah, super
It just
right.
doesn't happen
Exactly.
until
So
Monday.
it was just it was just a freak thing, really. And it was nobody's fault. It was just it is what it is. You know what I mean? And thank God, like I said, that DeMar winded up beating this and everything so far seems to be going good and quite possibly I'm hoping that DeMar, like Jarek said earlier on the podcast, gets back on the field again, man, and does what he wanted to do his whole life, which is play football, right? And I think he will. I do. I believe in that. I think he's a fighter, tough kid, and the Bills are going to want that kid back when he gets right. AWOL, it was a football play, end of the day. That near tragedy brought fans together 100% too. I will say that one more thing too. Fan bases throughout the NFL, and I told you, Jarek, when I did that live stream, I had a ton of people, and there was so much support from all over. I mean, Cowboys fans, Patriots, Dolphins, Jets, you name it, they were in the chat, just sending their prayers and thoughts. I'm in Michigan, Detroit. My bar that I work at, they put up prayers for DeMar in this big digital sign. Throughout the NFL, they were changing their colors to blue and red, and support for DeMar. Even basketball, like commentator guys, everybody, hockey, everybody was sending prayers and thoughts to DeMar, and it was awesome to see that there's still a lot of good people in this world, and it was just really, honestly, it's good to see. So I appreciate, like I said, once again, man, everybody that came into my chat, that that sent messages on some of the videos I did. Just it was really heartwarming and heartfelt, whatever you want to say, whatever you want to call it. But it was really good to see, and I appreciate everybody once again for doing that. It was class act on all y'all. But anyways, Jarek, I wasn't going to make this long, and we are about to get out of here because I know you want to go rest. I know you're not feeling well. Once again, I appreciate you coming on tonight because I wasn't even supposed to be on. I'm filling in for my buddy Jason, who is at the Sabres game, I guess. And hey, the show must go on. You know how that goes, Jarek.
Mm-hmm.
So anyways, Jarek, any last words, and where can people check you out at on YouTube?
Yeah, man. I'll just say this, man. Out to everyone, first of all, for viewing me on. Definitely thank you, Tom, for letting me on the show. Man, like I said, Monday was crazy. I don't think anyone would have ever, again, people that were like me, that were able to kind of see an incident like this 2 times now, in less than 3 years it's just literally identical, very, very identical situations. Luckily, both players, and Christian Eriksen, DeMar Hamlin, were able to survive it. One of them is actually, again, playing the best he's ever played in his career, which is insane. So, that gives me hope that DeMar Hamlin not only is going to make it, but potentially could play again. Not, now who goes? It might be next year, and maybe the year after. But that just gives me hope that he can resume his football career, which not the most important thing, obviously, but obviously for him, that's always been his dream. Again, me and DeMar we're the exact same age, so
Oh, wow.
I definitely hope that he can play again because, like I said, he was having a phenomenal year for Buffalo, and
Yep.
again, it would be just awesome to see him back on the field again doing his thing. But man, like I said, it just goes to show you, man, that anything can happen. Miracles can work. I mean, so many people were praying, man. I mean, like I said, I had friends and we texted back and forth. I had relatives, friends that we're going back and forth again. At least for my case, not the strongest believer as far as I'm not the most religious type of person. I'm not a person that goes ahead and pray every day. But hey, I was even doing it. Like I was praying
Right.
for consecutive days, hoping that he was going to be all right, hoping that a miracle can happen. I had a lot of friends that were doing the exact same thing. I know a lot of millions of people around the country were doing it. Um, so yeah, it was, like I said, it was awesome that everyone was able to come to, kind of, come together. It was, again, sad that we have to do it under this circumstance, but it was
Yep.
just at the same time that was awesome to see us, all come together, and just, really just, rally around and support, this one person, man. And, like I said, I think, like I said, if there's anything that we can take away from this, that miracles can happen, that we need to cherish everybody that we possibly can, because you just never know when our last days are going to be on this earth. And
That's right.
yeah, I mean, yeah, it was, like I said, sad. It was sad, but at this, now that we got really, really good news, we can now look forward positivity, positively, and you know, is we can look back from this, we can learn, we grow from this overall, man. But like I say, yeah, happy to be back on the show, man. And if you guys want, to hear more of my ugly voice, you guys can follow me at Jan Sports on YouTube, where I'll talk more Bills football, and I also do a lot of college sports, a lot of pro football sports, just sports in general. You guys can follow me there, and then Twitter at Jan716.
All right, awesome, man. It was, appreciate you once again. Appreciate the chat. Everybody came in, and everybody that's going to watch this video later that missed out on the live. So, Bills Mafia, I love you, and go Bills.
Go Bills.
Yo, that's my beeper. Yo, we gotta check that out next week, because right now I gotta go pick up my baby's mother. It's her birthday. We're gonna have a special night. We're gonna have a little candlelight dinner down at Kentucky Fried Chicken, drink some champagne, go home and watch Homie the Clown.
Yo, remember, always wipe and stay off the pipe.